So over the last little while, running up to this Trump-Clinton election, really preceding that, but really during the election and then now following, I have felt that I've gone pretty hard at the left. I've gone pretty hard at anyone that's on the left. They're going to have noticed this from videos to our podcast, on my social media, even in my personal life. I feel obligated to do this now. And I promise you it's not because I hate the political left. I don't. And even that, understand about me, I don't believe that the left and the right is a soluble thing. It's not real. It's not solid. It's just an easy way for people to kind of choose a side. They feel more comfortable. We as human beings feel more comfortable belonging to a side. That being said, I'll use the dichotomy and just say the left has been deserving of a lot more scrutiny and criticism lately. Listen, I want to just be clear about this very quickly and say that I have positive things to say about both conservatives and lefties, which is, by the way, a term I used to be less offensive because I don't like the confusion about the term liberal. And I don't like calling people on the left leftists. It sounds like I'm calling you communists, like from a regime or something. So lefty is meant to be more cute. And if it doesn't come off that way, I'm sorry. So let me emphasize this. I have a lot of hope that the cooler heads on the left will eventually prevail. I was initially, I think, over optimistic about how quickly this would happen. And it's going to be, I think, quite a drag out with a lot of depressing defeats along the way. But it's going to be necessary, and it's going to be much better because the left of the past has done, a lot of amazing things. Just to name a couple, women getting birth control and this becoming a thing that's accepted. And I guess we're still fighting on some fronts about this, but largely people accept it. Gay rights, gay people can now get married. They don't get fired from jobs. These are all important gains, and I don't take them lightly. And in fact, this is part of how I see human nature, always having these two sides going back and forth. But you have to be realistic. You can't keep winning elections. You can't always be the right side. Too many things now. The left has had too much power. The criticism is necessary to bring about reform on the left. And eventually that'll be needed on the right. Just for right now, they're the ones with a lot of the good points. They've been armed with that ammunition by the people who've been speaking for the left. And you're listening to this and you're thinking that it's not you. It's not enough. It's not enough. This is my criticism, my challenge to you. If you're on the left, you have to start claiming back the left. You need to call these people out. We call it policing our side or whatever. I'm not left. I'm not right myself, but I know this, that as a skeptic, I've criticized other skeptics many times. In fact, recently I've criticized Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, some people that I respect a great deal that are very accomplished. And I call them out on the things, the attitudes that I feel are incorrect, and I state why. But on the left in general, when you look at the media, when you look at presentation, you have to understand that you're not the people they're seeing. You're not the people they're hearing. They're hearing the people that are screaming that white people are all evil. And that's the end of the story, right? And maybe if you think about it, let's be honest with yourself. Did you let it slip a little bit? This principle that people shouldn't be judged by the color of their skin. Because you're like, yeah, white people really are bad about all the slavery in the past, and white people have all the money right now. And rather than getting into the particulars of how to remedy that, just blanket statements and blanket sentiment against white people, and not looking at then the other side of people who are not white, people who are not in quote the positions of power, seeing that they need to be respected for who they are and what they accomplish. These are the sicknesses that are going on right now, and they're on the left. In the future, who knows how soon, in the future, the battle will be on the right again. And that's where you'll see me more often. And I do criticize the right, and I do have problems with the right. But right now, I'm fighting things with what the ideas that I'm bringing forward, the things that I'm calling out are things like The left thinks that they can try to not just put things into school about sex ed and anti-scientific things about gender towards young kids. It's not just in colleges anymore where the kids are already screwed up. It's not just in high schools. This is being aimed now in many places at elementary school as a prime example of priorities. This is a priority to me, that they think that they can even try to not tell parents because they're all seen as old-fashioned, uneducated, rednecks, religious nuts. Unfair. The left claims more than anyone to be pro-science. Well, here's some science for you. Evolution has made it extremely important for our species that parents look after their children, look to their future and their development. If you can't understand that in an active way, rather than just as a notion that you push aside at convenience, then you're part of the problem on the left. And this is where the war is going to be. It starts with you. It starts with you challenging yourself. At the end of it, don't be surprised if some of you, when you challenge yourself, find you don't fit into the left-right dichotomy. That is what I discovered. I don't say that to avoid responsibility. I am as flawed as anyone else, but I don't fit into a tribe, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. And I'll tell you this, it gets you a lot more, people get a lot more stressed out with me than they used to when I used to have a side. But it's worth it. And even if you're going to stay on a side, I'm not going to condemn you for it. I'm just going to say, you've got to fight to take back the left. So listen, I'm planning on beginning a series. I'm thinking about calling it I Am Sovereign. I Am Sovereign will be less about attacking the left or the right or anything like that. It's going to be focused on, for me, some of the amazing people, either that I knew in actual life or that simply their work, their material influenced me to become what I see as a much more self-sufficient person intellectually, as a developed human being, the way I see the world. It helps in a lot of different ways. I want to provide some of this material in a format that you can either take or leave, but hopefully you'll feel like you benefit from it the same way that I have. Some of these people are famous and some of them are not famous, but my own background, for instance, is, this might explain a little bit to some of you. My own background is in theater. I loved being on stage. I loved listening to how, different ways that people put together scripts, watching the way the cast and the crew work together and all the different elements and how everything would come together. And what a lot of people don't realize is just how much work it is, at least if you take it seriously. It really, I know as an actor, some of these characters I could not leave. You're supposed to be able to leave them, not bring them home with you, but some of them, they would follow me home and I'd be acting in strange ways. And people who knew me at the time noticed that I did. So when I approach these political matters, this is a very formative thing for me. This made a huge impact. For me, I had an excellent mentor and a lot of other people helping. And when I looked at theater, for me, I was very unhappy with the fact that people would say it's a reflection of life or it's a piece of life. To me, the way I learned to approach it was that it was life. I couldn't be a person playing that person and thinking of in any way consciously about who is this person? What am I doing right now? What am I supposed to be doing? That work all had to be done before I hit the stage for the actual performance. It should all be done before. For me, I needed to be there. I was there. I was caught up in doing. I was doing something. That mindset is very hard to explain. But those experiences really, I think, this is the best theory that I have, really shifted me on political matters. I used to be, very interested in political matters, but I don't see them the same way anymore. I think that for a lot of people, they want the script and they want to hide behind a character rather than being there and doing. Seeing it all as moving parts of the same thing. I'm getting really abstract now, but there's a lot of ways you can approach it, and I think that some are better than others. And I'll go through other sources that aren't theater related, obviously, for people who really influenced me about how to cut through kind of your own biases in the realm of skepticism. And I'll just leave you with, for tonight, I'll leave you with the encouragement that the left will come back. It's still here, in fact. It just needs to get healthy again and stop hurting people so much, threatening people so much. And I'll leave you with a quote from Konstantin Stanislavski, who was a very influential man in the world of theater back in the day. There's a quote from him, I'm assuming well translated. Remember, there are no small parts, only small actors.